So we can get into today's episode. Welcome back, everyone, to the Quarter Century Soldier. We are on 2013. This is episode 15. And I am located at Bethesda, Maryland, the Armed Forces Radiobiology Research Institute, or AFRRI, because we like our acronyms in the military. And that's actually attached to the Armed Services Medical School. So some of the things that we do, we support the medical students. And again, they're in their 20s usually, like right out of college, and they came into the military to go to medical school. So it's no different than any other, I would say, college campus, other than, we wear the uniform and we have special requirements, but it's, people in their 20s. What do people in their 20s do in a college atmosphere? It's the same shit. So I'm working in the Veterinary Sciences division, still learning about the process of caring for animals. So I'm not so much of a lab tech, because we got another lab tech who's now running the lab that was in the department. I was running it before I took over for, the guy that got sent to jail. And so I'm not even doing that anymore. Basically, me and him talk because we're the same job. We have the same job. But other than that, I think we were in school around the same time, but we weren't like in the same class or anything. We just know some of the same people. So he's running that all by himself. I'm a hands-off leader, right? I don't want to babysit you all day. I want to be able to give you a set of instructions. Hey, this is what we're trying to achieve. This is our expectations of everyone, and go, right? I'm not a micromanager. I don't need to be kept in the loop in every little small detail. It seems like every leader that I've had is like that, just because I think it's opposite to what I am. And that's the way the world sets me up, is to give me things that are different than what I am to make me grow as a person. Silver lining. And so I'm still learning about the animals. I'm still learning about our treatment procedures, care for them. So I'm just, it's a learning thing. I'm in one of my first complete leadership positions. I had some at the last duty station that were pretty cool, but when I got to the clinical trials section, like I said, I didn't get along with the dude that was there, because he was deriding the guy before me. So, I never really experienced what it was like to be empowered by your boss. Someone put a battery in your back and just go. And so, I'm enjoying that here at this time in 2013, is because, once the lady left that was in charge of the department, I don't know. She just was, I don't want to say she was a micromanager, because I don't remember her actually doing that. I just don't think that her mood really helped the department. You know what I'm saying? How people can be in a funk. People can be, I don't want to say too serious, but just, I don't know. When the boss is a certain type of personality, everyone kind of feels it, because we're kind of following their vibe, right? If that person is really open and cheery, then we already know kind of that's what the vibe is every single day when this person comes in. But if this person is really quiet and not even mysterious, but just kind of only really speaks when there's an issue type stuff, you just never know what you're getting that day. Sometimes they try to joke with you, just you're trying, but that's not really who you are. You can tell that that's not who you are. And so when the new major came in, I think he was young and he had never like been in charge of a department like that before. So, he had all these new ideas. He was fresh. He was a cheerful guy. And he wasn't military first. I think he used to be enlisted and he may have changed over to being an officer later. It's because he was really chill. He was really laid back. And he realized he wasn't perfect, right? You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna say he basked in that, but when he was wrong, he said it and he made it a point to fix it. And I respect that. I've said before, people get respect based on their position, based on their rank, right? But if you want respect as a person, you have to earn that as a person. Hey, you might be a great ass doctor, you might be a great nurse, but you're a shit human being, right? And so at the end of the day, that trumps everything, because it doesn't matter how much you stand up in front of everybody and wave and good job, team. We know you're a piece of shit, right? And that is going to trump everything that you've ever done in the back of people's mind. And so he wasn't like that. Like, he was a really good person. He was trying to help people. He was trying to use his rank as a protection. That's what we're supposed to be doing as bosses, as leaders. When people rain down, and for the most part, it happens in the Army, but when it stops happening, it's very apparent. And it's just like, man, you are a piece of work, because you get to that level and then you start to clam up. And it's like, why the fuck are you clamming up? Like, you're good. Like, they're not going to get rid of you. You're too important. What you're supposed to be doing, you're supposed to be using that as protection for the people who work underneath you. Like, no. What we're not going to do, we're not gonna talk to my people that type of way. Like, if you have an issue with anyone, and so this is the way the military used to be and what it's not now. And that's why I had to get the fuck out of there. Before, when I was a junior, attitude and all, there was only people that were directly in charge of me that would, chastise me, or just if I messed up, they'd be like, you fucked up, right? And there was this thing where whoever you were in charge of, you protected them, right? If you're wrong, okay, they're wrong, but you, whoever you are, you're the stranger. You tell me what he or she did. You don't tell them. Don't talk to my people. Don't do that, because my people may not, they may come back a certain way. They may respond a certain way. You may not like their body language and all that. And then we got a whole nother problem, right? We don't condone the disrespect. We never did condone that. So we were protective of the people that we were in charge of, because at the end of the day, as a leader, my evaluations are based on things that I did and things that the people underneath me did, right? If they got an award, if they were recognized, that went on my eval too, because I'm in charge of them. I am facilitating their success. And so the downside to that, or the opposite to that, is when they make a mistake, right? I have to eat that too. And so how I do that is, like me and whoever I'm working with have a conversation, right? So let's say, I worked in the lab and I was in charge of a section. I'm in charge of microbiology, and one of my, soldiers makes a mistake with one of the identifications or one of the samples that comes in. Like, the nurses or the doctors, yes, they have access to our laboratory because, they come in and drop off swabs and stuff like that, stool and urine and stuff like that. But if someone makes a mistake in the lab, of course the doctor and the nurse are going to be upset, right? But the last thing, the last thing that they're going to do is walk into my section, my microbiology section, and start pointing fingers at people who did what. That's the wrong fucking answer right there. That's not happening, right? That's not happening. They try to do that. And so all I tell my people is, if that happens, come get me. That's what I'm there for. Come get me. You do not engage in none of that. Don't go back and forth. Because what people like to do is they have to come in and, you made a mistake. You made a mistake. And then when someone's like, no, I didn't. I did this, that, and the third. Your person didn't do. They get into a back and forth. And so what somebody's waiting to do is, disrespect. And then so now we've lost perspective of the topic. So I'm always, hey, somebody comes in here beefing. Don't get into none of that. Just come get me. That's what I'm here for. Because I have the position that I can take that. And whatever that person is feeling as far as anger, they're going to take it down a notch when they're talking to me. We're not going to be a lot of bitches and motherfuckers. We don't do that. we don't do that, right? And so here is where I learned that. So now you come get me. All right, what's the problem? Like, what are we doing? Who got an issue? Okay, so let's go have a conversation. Like, this is a working space. My people are working. We have other patients in here that we're working on. It's not just yours. So let's just move off to the side. Let's have a conversation. How that conversation goes is between me and whoever I'm talking to, right? Now, what they want me to do is they want me to go back in and start yelling at my people. You messed up. I've never done that. Because for every mistake, someone has done something correctly 1,000 times. And so it's human nature. So what we do is we try to reduce that. We try to, if there's something that can be done to where we can prevent that from happening again, that's what we do. That's what we do. But never have I said, oh, this person did this. Oh, really? And then I turn around and say, you did this because this person said so. So now I have to correct you. No, hell no. No, because I built a camaraderie with the people that I work with. And so I believe what they say over what the other person says. Now I'm going to do my own research and I'm going to, hey, this person is saying this is what happened. Walk me through what happened. And so, yes, if my person was at fault, they're at fault. But we're not going to do paperwork and we're not going to give you Article 15. I've never given anyone an Article 15. In 25 years, I've gotten one, but I've never given anybody one because I don't think it needs to come to that. And it's never come to that part because, again, the old school way of leading was, let's have a conversation, right? Let's not talk as a boss and a worker, a boss, a subordinate. Let's talk person to person, right? So you're free to speak however you want to speak. Now, we're not in there like fighting and name calling, but I want you to talk to me like you would talk to one of your peers, right? Like be open and honest and say how you're feeling, because you'd be surprised sometimes people are dealing with shit that you don't even know about. People got a whole other thing going on over here and it's affecting their work. And so if you don't have those conversations, if you just don't talk and say, hey, what's going on? Like, this isn't like you. What's happening? That's when we start getting into, well, this happened with family. This happened, with a roommate, with a suite mate, XYZ. So now we're getting to the root of the problem. You have to understand, like, a lot of people that I was in charge of, they're young. They're teenagers in their early 20s and some in their late 20s. So they just deal with those issues differently. But this is kind of the first time where the person in charge of me trusts me, and he knows that I can't make him look bad, because if I make him look bad, I look bad. Right? It's like, that's how it works. Like, bosses have to understand, like, I'm not trying to make you look bad. If you're looking out for me, I'm going to look out for you. Like, I'm not trying to go to jail for you. And if I say, like, hey, sir, ma'am, we might, in this area, we might want to consider doing this. We might want to change this because this is what happened. And am I expecting him or her to go with what I say every single time? Absolutely not. No, of course not. Because they're privy to other things that I'm not privy to. But I'm just doing my job for whatever my lane is and explaining to them a change might need to be done here. It could be premature, but we've had this issue. I've done some evaluation, and if we make this small change right here, it may prevent further. It may not, but it might. But as a leader, that's what you're supposed to be doing, readjusting, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't work. And then you learn from that moving forward. And so he really believed in me and all that type of stuff. And so it was a lot easier to move about the cabin when a motherfucker who is in charge of your evaluations and is in charge of your, I don't want to say career, but they're in charge of your progression, has trust in you. Because again, my attitude still hasn't changed. I'm not rah-rah, sis, boom, bah. I'm not, loud and boisterous. I'm not running around like a chicken with my head cut off. I'm not doing any of that. The same things that were a negative to someone else, I'm still the same way, because that's the only way I know how to be. But when that person actually takes the time to say, okay, let me see how to get the best out of him. Okay, I see to get the best out of him, I just let him work. I keep an eye on him. I ask him, hey, is everything going well? Cool. The more you work with me, the more I work with you. And so, yes, as a matter of fact, if he needed to be kept in the loop more often and he needed more updates, yeah, I don't have an issue doing that, because we're compromising for each other. You're letting me run crazy if I wanted to do that. But again, I'm responsible with power. If I wanted to run crazy, you trust me enough to do that. Cool. So any suggestions that you make, I'm more than open to those suggestions, because you are a credible person to make a suggestion, right? That's like me being a boss coming in the first day. Hey, I'm changing everything. How? How are you going to change anything when you just walked in the door? You don't know anything. Like you haven't made any assessments. One of the things that I've learned as a leader is, you don't make any changes for at least 90 days. For 90 days, you are fucking just a fly on the wall. You're watching. You're seeing how everything works. You're seeing. We're so focused on trying to make improvements. So I don't want to say you're seeing where you can make improvements. No, you're seeing the efficiency. You're seeing what works and what doesn't. You're seeing what needs attention and what doesn't need attention. Right? We've all had those people that come in when we get new people in charge, and they just start gutting the place. It's just like, what are you doing? Like, you can't do that because you don't know what's going on yet. Well, I did this. I did this in Topeka, Kansas. Well, we're not in Kansas. We're not there. This is a totally different demographic. It's a totally different need. It's a totally different system. So yeah, I'm gonna fly on the wall for like 90 days. And then it's not, and then I start getting involved in really evaluating processes closely, because I don't want to waste my time on things that work excellent. Like something works excellent, I don't fucking touch it. But if I start seeing we have a lot of complaints, we get a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? Returns, or we get a lot of deficiencies in one area. Of course, that area needs to be addressed. But yeah, 90 days before we start making any changes. And so I really learned a lot. And that let me know that there are leaders out there, military wise, that will let you fucking rock out, that'll let you do your thing, that are hands off, because I'm hands off. Now I'm a safety net, so I'm hands off, but I'm watching. You good? I don't know. You look shaky. You look shaky. You all right? But sometimes people want to fight through those obstacles too. And so you have to let people fight through their own obstacles as well. You can't, as soon as someone runs into an obstacle, run in there and try to solve their problem, because that person's not growing. So yeah, it's really important as a person in a leadership position. But yeah, that was most of like 2013. I'm doing a little bit of everything. I'm working the section. I'm working the proctor test for the med students. Working their graduation ceremonies. I'm still doing the force protection, so I'm still on gate guard, which is something that I'm starting to really, at this point, I'm starting to get annoyed with. Just because now I'm in charge of a section, so being out all day is kind of, it's not something that you can do. Now I have complete faith in the people who work under me, people who work for me. But I'm not always as trusting in, seniors. Seniors have a real problem with throwing their fucking weight around and trying to get their way with everything, and then calling it disrespect when they don't get their way. And not everyone has that has the mentality that I have. Like, I don't give a fuck, right? I'm in the military. This is not who I am. This is what I do for a living. Like, I'm here because they're paying me. Once they stop paying me, I'm not working anymore. So that's the only, you know what I'm saying? That's the only thing. I'm here because they're paying me. This is not, I don't identify as a soldier. This is a job. I've always treated that as such. And so that's why it was so easy for me to transition. I'm not missing anything. I don't miss it. I only missed the job because I kind of really found what I wanted to do. And I found it towards the end. And so once we get to 2021, 2022, is when I was like, man, if I had found this fucking job 15 years ago, you'd have to pry it out of my dead hands. But, I've always wanted a job that was helping people. I got to see the world, and then, it just kept me mentally stimulated, busy. Yes, I get tired of being fucking issues all day. I'm bro, can we just come into the office one day and it just be cool? No. So it gets tiring sometimes, but that's part of the joy. There's always something to do. So yeah, 2013, I'm just, I'm growing as a person, as a leader, more specifically. And it feels good to have good leadership at my back. Someone who's not afraid to you need me to make a call? Who do I need to call? I'm like, hey sir, such and such is giving me a hard time with XYZ. I'm trying to, get this paperwork pushed through because we need this in order, to facilitate more supplies coming in for our office space, for our, our vivarium, and, just giving me a really hard time. I've tried 3 times to get in contact with them, or, to send them the proper paperwork, but it just seems like they're not listening. Oh, you want me to call? You want me to hit them up? I'm just no, not yet. You know what I'm saying? I don't call in the big guns until it's absolutely necessary or somebody has completely written me off. But just the fact that he's ready, because there's been some times where, you need your leader to make a call. I'm tired of calling and people just looking at me like, who is this? You're not important enough. You need to call. You already know this. You already know what's going on. You need to call because they're going to, unfortunately, sometimes people, they will do whatever they can to please a certain title or a certain person, right? Oh, the director, the CEO, we have to now. I was asking for the same shit last week. But because, she made the call today, now all of a sudden it's an emergency. All right, bro. Okay. Like when I was working in the embassy, oh, the ambassador wanted something. Everybody just, not to say that you're not supposed to do that. Okay, I get it. But, if I come asking for a question, it's just like, huh? What do you need? Like, what do you want? Like, we don't have that. Like, why do I get the attitude? Like, why? I'm not giving you any attitude. Why am I getting it? Because I see how you can work when what you consider the big dogs are at the table. I'm not a person that's going to call a big dog on you for something that's so small. I believe that we should be able to figure that out. See what I'm saying? But yeah, he was definitely ready to. You want me to call somebody? Like, you want me to call him? Do I need to? Nah, you good. You good. You're good. But thank you. Just knowing that you're ready to go, you locked and loaded is enough for me. I'll continue to work on it. I'm just keeping you in the loop. But no, it was really refreshing to get that. I think this was one of the. Let me think. I won't say this was the first time. It probably was the first time that I've had that. I've had some other, I've had some good leaders in my day. Like, they were just good people. But I mean, somebody that just really empowered me to just, do what you need to do. Whatever it is, do what you need to do. I got you. And he never turned on me. Some motherfuckers do that to you. Like, yeah, man, go do what you need to do. And it's like, hey, I did this. And they're like, what? You did what? Oh, I can't, I can't support that. Like, what? Like, I only did that because you said do whatever I needed to. All right, man. Like, now I know that you're just talking. It's all lip service. But no, 2013 was cool. Yeah, so I mean, I didn't really talk about 2013, but that was some of the things that led me to my thought process moving forward overall with just being in the military. And then 2014 is going to be a little bit different. We'll go over that on Monday. 2014, I start trying to make the attempt to become an instructor. And that was a fight in itself. So sometimes you have to be careful what you ask for. And I think in 2014, working in the research as a research scientist did come to bite me in the ass. We'll talk about that on Monday. Oh man, damned if you do, damned if you don't. Yeah, that was 2014. Okay. So that's been episode 15, 2013 in the Quarter Century Soldier series. All episodes going to be here on YouTube.